a diplomat. I travel the world for Australia. I've been everywhere from Abu Dhabi to now. I used to like a drink, but some bastards think as a teetotaler I'm a failure. And I feel like a prick when I wake up with a chick, and I don't know where the fuck I am. Come one, come all, where the petrodollar starts. So say your prayers, get into bed with Liz while I explore those foreign parts.
Say your prayers, get into bed with Liz while he explores our foreign parts.
Yeah, bless the land, I'm in Baghdad with a government in production. With a job like mine, a man's got to act the part. So I'm wearing a towel, I'm on the prowl with my weapon of mass destruction. And I never fail to lift the veil of a red-hot Iraqi tart. Come one, come all, I love those Islamic arts. But please don't mention the Geneva Convention when I'm up those foreign parts. In my brilliant career, I haven't been here since a layover back in the 80s, when you couldn't get a drink, but you could get a nasty rash. I feel a bit of a dag, but I'm raising the flag on the banks of the River Euphrates, where you're in like Flint with a bottle of gin and a wedge of Yankee cash. But wherever I roam, I remember my home and a wife who waits called Gwenny. To be married to me, she'd have to be a saint. I like a bit on the side, but my poor little bride is convinced that I'm not getting any. She's long in the tooth. If she knew the truth, that poor old Sheila would faint. Come one, come all, I don't want to break no hearts, but if me donga could speak, I'd be up shit creek instead of up those foreign parts.
Donga can speak, he'd be up shit creek
Instead of up those foreign parts. No worries, yeah. Thank you, and let's hear it for the lizards. The beautiful lizards. Oh, well, well, well. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, one and all. Permit me, if I may, permit me to introduce myself to you good people. My name, as you may have heard, is Liz Patterson. And if I may say so, on this beautiful Thursday night in Melbourne town, you're all looking pretty good. And if you think I'm looking good, let's hear you say you're looking good, Liz. How am I looking, ladies and gentlemen? No worries, we're going to get along like a house on fire because I'm feeling good and I'm smelling good too because I've had a squirt of the old duty-free Fabergé Brut. And I'm ready for action, ladies. I am ready for action. What have I been up to lately? What have I been up to? Now, the old heat-seeking missile's flying up tonight. I reckon, it might have spotted a soft target over there. Until I am at present, the face of the Australian peacekeeping force in the Middle East during this crucial transitional period. I think I'll say that again. Crucial transitional period. Yes, and I'm here in Australia on compassionate leave to spend a bit of quality time with my wife, Gwen. Now, parents here know that by quality time, I mean time that I'd much rather spend doing something else. You with me? They weren't too compassionate at first neither, but when they saw a picture of my wife, boy, were they compassionate then. Johnny Howard, he said to me, Les, he said, will you be our man in baggers? Will you front up the coalition of the willing and I'll make you Australian of the Year? I said, what about Alexander Downer? He said, he's boring, Les, even by my standards he's boring. He said, he's that boring, if he pulled himself off his hand and go to sleep. They may not have been his exact words, but word to that effect. Word to that effect. Oh, Christ. There's a stony-faced old Sheila sitting down there. She's got a face like a half-sucked mango, ladies and gentlemen. She's got a face like a dropped pie. She could stop a clock with that face. Last time I saw a head like that, it had a hook in it, I kid you not. Nothing personal, madam, I assure you. Nothing personal, but you can't win them all, can you, fellas? You can't win them all. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in the last few months, in the Middle East, I've acquired 5 wives. How about that? 5 wives. You check into a hotel and it's automatic. They chuck you the keys of the minibar and a fresh Sheila on the pillow every night, like a chocolate. Some of them are. And you know, I'm not saying I like doing the dirty deed 5 times a night with 5 different exotic horn bags. But I force myself out of respect to the religious sensibilities of the region. I do. Of course, all this got back to my wife, and boy, did the shit hit the fan then. Oh, poor old Gwen. I said, Gwen, you are still number 1 wife as far as I am concerned. And if I tell a lie, may I be shat upon by 1,000 camels. You see, I'm picking up the lingo over there. I've become quite fluent. I picked something else up over there too, and I've become exceptionally fluent in that particular area. However, ladies and gentlemen, my wife said to me, she said, Les, would you love me if I wore a black hood over my features? I said, you don't know what that would mean to me, Gwen. I said to her, God love her. But she's lonely, my wife, very, very lonely. Lonely as a bastard on Father's Day most of the time. Lonely as Peter Hollingworth at a Child Protection Agency fundraiser. She's as lonely as Kim Beazley's press secretary, and he'd be bloody lonely, wouldn't he? Because I'm away, you know, doing the business of Australia all over the world. And so I bought my wife a dog. Isn't that nice of me? Bought her a dog to keep her company. So there's 2 dogs at home now. And every time she whistles, it comes to her. That's lovely, isn't it? And she whistles a lot because she's got the loose denture. You know, she's like a fucking kettle, as a matter of fact. I'm sorry, madam, I'm sorry. It just slipped out. You know the feeling, darling? Anyway, it did. And I was in the Middle East recently. I know you, don't I? Hello, darling. What's your name? Angela. My, you used to be my research assistant, Angela. Isn't that fantastic? That's amazing. Yeah, beautiful to see you. Beautiful to see you. That's lovely. An incredible coincidence. I didn't recognise your face, but the top of your head rang a bell, Angela. That did. That did. We go back a long way, don't we, darling? She always used to say to me, Les, you go back a long way. You with me? You're ahead of me, I reckon. Anyway, I was in the Middle East and the phone rings and it's my wife telling me that the dog won't come when she whistles anymore. So I said, take her to the vet, end of conversation. But the next night she rang me and I was busy training a new research assistant who will be working under me. She was working under me at the time, funnily enough. You know the routine, Angie, don't you, darling? And I had to reach across her to get the phone. I always have a photograph of my wife, too, on the bedside table in my travels. Slows me down, fellas. It does. You know? Takes the edge off the excitement, I can tell you. I'll lend it to you, mate. You can go all night with a picture of my wife. God love her. However, I took the call. I said, yes, Gwenny. And she said, I've been to the vet. I said, what happened? You know, I went on talking. You know how you pretend to be interested in what your wife is saying. So she said, I've been to the vet, and the vet says that there's hair in the dog's ears, stuffed with hair. Can't hear me whistling. So to go to the chemist and get something called Nair, some product called Nair. So she went to the chemist, and the chemist put the Nair on the counter, and he said, Lady Patterson, if this pharmaceutical product, is for your legs, use a lot of soap and water. It's very, very caustic. And if it's for your armpits, lots and lots of soap and water. And if it's for your back. And my wife said, well, I'm not a South African, she said to him. But I mean, how fucking topical can you be? Hey? Old Les has got his ear to the ground. Not the only organ that's nearly touching the ground either, eh, Angela? Oh boy, fantastic to see that, Sheila. However, ladies and gentlemen, my wife said, well, as a matter of fact, she said, it's for my schnauzer. The chemist said, in that case, don't ride a bike for a fortnight, he said. Isn't that beautiful? You can tell that anywhere, couldn't you? I just have. Oh, there's no water restrictions down here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no, but you know, I'm back in Australia and it's beautiful. It's fantastic. I'm being headhunted right and left. Everyone wants my services. They wanted me to be the new Governor-General, but I couldn't stick it out in Canberra. Oh, mind you, I've stuck it out everywhere else. So I'm moving into my own field, which is sport. I love sport. I've always been very athletic, though in your minds, no doubt, I'm synonymous with the arts in Australia. I kick-started the film industry. I've had a finger in a lot of artistic endeavours. And you with me? You were always pretty artistic, weren't you, Ange? So I'm moving away from the artistic. Let me put it to you this way. I'm turning my back on the artistic community, and with understandable caution too. And I'm moving into the field of sport. And sport in Australia is the Cinderella activity in this country. It's pretty well ignored by the media. Look at the papers this morning. Pretty well nothing about sport on the front page at all. Admittedly, there were sporting articles on pages 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 12, 15, 17, 21, 23, 28, and the sporting section, but that's not good enough. And on the television, 10 minutes with nothing about footy at all this morning. Sport is being marginalised by stupid things like news, weather, Harry fucking Potter, you know. I could show that little dickhead where to stick his broomstick, I'm telling you that. Hey? So, getting to be a literary critic now, but I'm going to change all that with the aid of a multi-billion-dollar government grant. I formed a committee called the Federal Authority for the Regulation of Team Sports, FARTS. You might have had wind of this already. And we're going to make sure that you good people, and many like you, millions like you, are going to be exposed to sporting programs non-stop on every channel 24 hours a day. How about that? And ladies and gentlemen, it's our tarnished sporting icons that need an overhaul. It certainly is. What could be more apparent than our tarnished sporting icons? I mean, forget about Greg Norman. He sold out to the Seppos, the old septic tanks, years ago. But it's scallywags like old Shane Warne, you know. Good, I've left my cell phone back there. It's going non-stop. He's texting me to death, old Shane. And he said, I said, Shane, before you even go out the door, haven't I told you, people in your position and mine, you never have to pay for it. You never have to pay for it. You know that as well as I do, Angie, don't you, eh? Oh, old horny warny. And you know, he got into strife over that diarrhea tablet his mother gave him. You remember that? He's in more strife than Speed Gordon. I mean, he was only trying to look good for the cameras. And what about Wayne Carey? Now, I don't know what happened in that sausage sizzle incident. I don't know whose sausage was being fucking sizzled, frankly. All I know is he's done a run into Adelaide where he's become the Jacques Cousteau of the hot tubs. He regularly puts the Uzi back in the jacuzzi. But don't start me on Thorpe. Don't start me on Thorpe. I had Thorpe on the phone, Ange, this morning, on the phone crying like a Sheila. You know, I said, you're done, Bonza, you're a hero, you're fantastic, Thorpe. But he said, no, Les, no. I wish the media would stop sniping about me and stop impugning my manhood, casting aspirations on my orientation. I said, well, what do you expect, Thorpe, if you get around in Dago suits and jewels? I said, you can't have it both ways. Or can you, Thorpe? I said to him. I said, get yourself a decent Sheila, a lovely, clean-living Australian girl, someone who exemplifies solid Australian family values, someone like... Oh, I'm allergic to something here. I think I'm going to sneeze in a minute. But that terrible build-up of phlegm. Oh. If you can strike a match on this old tart's face, I'm telling you that. I think she thinks this is Mamma Mia. I think she... So, ladies and gentlemen, please pull yourselves together for Christ's sake. It's nice out tonight. I think I'll leave it out. Now, I said to Thorpe, I said, get yourself a nice, clean-living Australian girl, someone like that Annalisa back in the sack. That'd be nice. Or Mimi McPherson, little Mimi. I was out whale spotting with Mimi recently, and she said, Les, would you like to come below decks and look at my video? I said, I think I've seen that video already, darling. And about 1,000 other fellas as well. And I said, I've got a bit of footage down below you might enjoy. I said, are you with me? Ladies and gentlemen, but Thorpe has got endorsements coming out of his arsehole. There was an inch of that man's body that hasn't got an advertisement on it. And that's another aspect of my bulging portfolio, vetting the endorsements. Now, did you read in the paper this morning that Mundine, the Catholic Church, have put the hard word on Mundine to endorse Nike rosary beads? Did you read that? Now, you'd think with all the shit the Mix have been in lately, they'd run a mile with a motto like, just do it, wouldn't you think? But ladies and gentlemen, the aggravation that I find myself involved in the sporting community as a spin doctor is nothing to do and nothing whatever compared with the trouble I have when I was Minister for the Arts. When they offered me the job of cultural attaché, I envisaged a sophisticated life. And I didn't need a very strong incentive to spend 11 months a year away from my wife. You have to go to operas and art shows to put Australian culture on the map. I thought with all the time I'm spending, I'm sure to get my end in at the taxpayer's expense. Crap. For there's no escaping poofters in the arts. They hang around like yesterday's old farts. Most opera first-nighters are raving pillow biters. And the ballet, to my horror, is like Sodom and Gomorrah. I can't stand all those highbrows with curtain rings in their eyebrows. They must have broke their poor old parents' hearts. And I dread literary lunches with a mob of freckle punchers. Oh, there's no escaping pofters in the art, you better believe it. There's no escaping pofters in the art. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Well, there's no escaping fairies in my job. And if you complain, you are a bigot and a snob. When you're at a concert hall, keep your back against the wall. Or some bastard will try polishing his knob. If some pansy tries to give my bum a probe, and I knock him back, then I'm a homophobe. I won't exchange my vital fluids with a mob of Qantas stewards. And I don't think that it's funny in the Opera House's dunny. If some stupid namby-pamby wants my meat inside his Samby. Are we really hearing this, I hear you cry? Oh, there's no escaping pofters in the art. Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. How I miss the golden olden days of Gough, with all those arty Sheilas guzzling at the trough. I'd dish them out their grants if they'd let me in their pants. It was the patriotic way to have it off. My job was one I always used to like, but now every second Sheila is a dyke. Oh, what a fucking waste, eh, fellas? So I finally said, no, I need a new portfolio. They need a fella like a fish requires a bike. So I called up Johnny Howard on the phone. I said, I need a fix of raw testosterone. He said, Leslie, this is like a bloody dream. I didn't know that you were batting for our team. Get in there, Les, and give it a burl. Stop Wayne Carey from porking the girls. And Thorpe, he looks a prick in Armani and pearls. So on the footy field or on the tennis court, keep those fucking pofters out of sport.